Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews, and this is my review for Marvel's Eternals.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy. Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews.
Don't make me destroy you.
So, The Eternals features a vast team of new superheroes, aliens from a distant world that have come to the Earth to defend it from the deviants. And after several thousand years, they are tasked with overseeing something extraordinary, something world-changing, and they resist. Now, to start off, I just want to say that there is something truly wonderful about seeing such a diverse cast. This should have happened bloody years ago. We should have had characters like these years ago. It's excellent to see, the representation on screen. The problem is that we don't get enough of anything. We don't get enough of any of these characters. We flitter between them constantly throughout this film. Each and every one of these characters you could write out in 2 sentences or less, and it's detrimental to the film. It's even more of a shame that at 2.5 hours long, this film does feel long and yet feels so empty. It's baffling, to be quite honest. We flitter, as I said, between the characters. We flitter between all of their emotional beats that ultimately don't land fully because we don't get enough time with them. And yet we're flittering across great barriers of time. We go into the grand past, into ancient Mesopotamia. We see civilizations rise, we see civilizations fall, we see present day, we see the past, and yet we see very little of anything. It's all weightless. And that is the thing with this film. The Eternals is weightless. It's weightless, it's dull, it's drab, it's abhorrently dark. And I don't mean dark in terms of oppressive nature. It's shot really dark. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. In fact, I do understand it. I know why it's shot dark, because it looks terrible. It looks terrible. The CGI is awful, and you can tell that they legitimately darkened scenes purely to cover up awful CGI battle sequences. Marvel, what are you doing? Honestly, what are you doing? You're the creators of grand characters, grand spectacle, and going back to those characters, the thing that we all love about Marvel movies is that we invest in them on a human level, a very human level. We invested in C-grade characters that nobody had ever heard of purely because of that human element. Those characters hit us at all the right points. We felt their emotions, we understood their plight, and we were taken with them on these journeys right the way through to Infinity War and Endgame. We felt every single moment of it. We fell in love with a tree, for Christ's sake. And yet in this film, we don't get anything in the way of emotion. It's a very oddly bereft of emotion film, and yet they try and plug it all the way through. There is that sense that they're trying to make you feel something, and yet you can't. Purely because we don't know who these characters are. And we can't invest in them because there's too much going on, too little in the way of character investment in favour of flitting so quickly from one sequence to another and then flashing back to the past to try and give us that little bit of nugget of information. My word, it's a it's a lineup of faces at a prison, and we're there to experience and try and figure out who is the most important, who is the most evil, who is the one that we should be following. That's what it feels like. It feels like a set of posters. These characters feel like a set of posters on a wall, and then we're tasked with trying to figure out which one we should invest in. Everything in this film feels plastic and synthetic, even right down to the bloody sentiment. The grandiose ending doesn't hit. Doesn't hit. And the lines don't hit. The dialogue doesn't hit. It's all snappy and quick and bereft of humour. Bereft of. I mean, to be fair, Kumail Nanjiani, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, gives us that little bit of levity, but it's, again, a victim of not knowing enough about him. You giggle and you smile, and then you go, I don't really know who you are. Is this what you're always like? Because it's a bit weird. At first, when you first see him, you think he's quite a stoic character, and yeah, he turns out to be, a razor sharp comedian. Okay, fine. But you don't get enough of it. You don't get enough of it. And everything in this film is slow, drab, and yet thin and weightless, as I said. It's it's just special effects and forgettable action. I don't know what's going on. I really don't, and I'm struggling to sort of try and pick out any sort of positivity from this. Looking at Nomadland, there is none of Chloe Zhao's identity here in this film. The characterization in Nomadland was on point, pinpoint. It had these deep cuts with those characters, really questionable, anti-heroic sort of characterization, really challenging ideas, and yet you hire her for this film and there is nothing in it. Apparently she had creative control on this film. Really? Then what happened? What happened? What kind of creative control did you have? What costume they were going to wear? It's disappointing. This is, for me, possibly, in fact it is, it's the worst MCU film I've seen so far. It really is, and it's getting to a point now for me where I'm struggling with the MCU films. I really am. I'm struggling. Since Endgame, I have not enjoyed more than 20% of the output overall. I wanted so much more with this film. I thought we were going to get it. Christ. Everything for me now lingers and holds on Spider-Man. Jesus. I don't really know what else to say. I don't feel like I've reviewed this film properly. I feel like I've just sort of flitted around, but that's because I don't really know. I don't really know. It just feels so empty. It's a forgettable 2.5 hours of a film. It goes through all of history and back and forth, and yet when it comes to the table, there is nothing in its hand. It's just imagery and nonsense. To be fair to it, it is a much better Justice League film at the end than Justice League itself. But, in fact, I'm going to delve into some spoilers dead quickly because there is one bit which absolutely tickled me. So, spoiler alert. If you want to leave now, okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. But, spoiler alert here. What I didn't buy is any of the emotion at all, like I've said. And come the end of the film, Icarus himself is, he's obviously the bad guy, if you're still with me. And he's very sort of upset about everything. And yet, he just flies off and commits suicide in the sun. Really? You want character development in films like this. You want to see people reacting to their mistakes, people evolving in these situations. Marvel films have a horrendous history of killing off villains when they should be learning from their mistakes. Killmonger being the highlight. In this film, He clearly sees everything that he's done, everything that he's tried to do was wrong at the end of the film, and yet he cries, which is not a problem. It's perfectly fine. Everybody cries. I cry, for Christ's sake. I cry watching Armageddon whenever I watch it. I don't know why. I just do. There's nothing wrong with it. But in the context of this film, he cries in front of Cersei, the woman he loves, the woman who has finally made him see that humanity is worth saving. And yet, instead of going, help me, teach me, show me how to be a better human, he decides, nah, I'm just going to go and fly into the sun.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Bullshit. You said so. It's all bullshit.
What? What? Where's the character development? Oh, we just need to make sure we get somebody off the paycheck, I guess. Fuck off. Fuck off, film. Absolute shite. Kit Harington can't act. This is a 3 out of 10. Oh, I'm sorry, I just threw out Kit Harington then, didn't I? Kit Harington isn't even bloody that character either. Kit Harington is just there for the sequel.
Cause let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's just a build-up to another build-up to a build-up. The Marvel films have forgotten what they were. Self-contained stories that had a much wider impactive arc. Instead, we're getting jump cuts and flashbacks and rewinds and... Oh, Harry Styles is here. Great. Fantastic. Yeah. I'm going to go. A 3 out of 10. Eternals is a 3 out of 10 for me. If you've stuck with me through this video, then congratulations to you. Well done. I'm really glad you're here. Because you know what? I think I'm done with Marvel movies. I'm bored. I'm bored. I want Spider-Man No Way Home to help me here. It's my only hope. Because I feel like I'm done. I feel like I'm done. I'm not investing in any of these characters. I'm not part of this. It doesn't feel good anymore. It doesn't feel fun anymore. It feels messy. 3 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Bye.